The question that I got the most for 2025 summer was, why was I in Bangladesh alone and how was it? So this is a video about why I spent 2 months in Bangladesh as a university student who is into international development. Hello everyone, this is April and today I'm going to speak a little bit about my summer internship with the Grameen Bank and Yona Center. So hopefully this video is going to help whoever are interested in doing an internship there or is interested in development work and really want to see how microfinance work on the ground in Bangladesh. Firstly, originally I wanted to go to Bangladesh because I'm always very into development economics and I've been knowing Professor Yunus for a long time. In high school, I read his book called Banker to the Poor where he talked about his microfinance model and how he won a Nobel Peace Prize by borrowing money to the villagers in Bangladesh and all the poverty alleviation work that he has done. So I have admired him for a long time. That's why when I saw my university has a cooperative program with the Yona Center and Grameen Bank, I was very excited and then I applied. So this summer, June and July, I spent 2 months in Bangladesh witnessing how social business and microfinance work in both rural and urban side of Bangladesh. Our first start was my internship with the Yona Center. The Yona Center essentially is a think tank, so that helped to spread the ideas of like Professor Yunus. You also like cooperate with many university in talking about microfinance model and the 3-0 clubs. So for more information, you can find it out on their website, and I'll put their website under the link as well. So the Yunus Center, I arrived in June, and the biggest event that we've been working on is Social Business Day, which is at the end of June. It's like we have been helping out the speaker management, so handling some logistic of holding the event. So I include social media posts, conference volume, and like replying to emails. So a lot of more like logistical administrative stuff that's going on in the Yona Center. While doing this work, you also like learn along the way of how social business work and then learning about different speakers, because we really invite really prestigious and very smart and very like intelligent speaker who's working on social business on the ground across the world. Just by learning about their resume and about the things they're doing is quite insightful already. But the thing is that you do have to be ready. That a lot of work that you are assigned is quite more administrative side, and it wouldn't be like too research based, so you will be more like actually helping out with the staff. So the social business is 2 days. There are more than like 500 different participants. A lot of people came, international, local. So a lot of different sessions learning about how social business operate and people sharing about their progress. So it is quite like informative, but as intern, we're just like running around a lot. But it is very nice to get to know all these people learning about the model of social business across the world. And then after the social business day, we're mainly doing field visits. So I didn't know this before, but there are a lot of organizations that's all called the Grameen sister organizations. So they are all social business and trying to tackle different aspects of social problems in Bangladesh. So that includes access to education, and there's one company that's about making phones, and there's another one that's working on solar energy, and then there's another one working on training doctors because of the healthcare system in Bangladesh is not very sufficient and everything. So you really just see how all these social business are trying to tackle different side of social problem in Bangladesh. Yes, we went to the factories, we went to the vocational training center, we went to schools, so they're seeing really like how on ground these like social business work. Yeah, so some of the tips definitely recommend for people who are interested in Yona Center is that you have to be there. You have to be there for social business day because that's the biggest day, and you honestly gonna like meet a lot of people, and then just by learning how like this massive international event work. So there is quite insightful work as well. Starting maybe mid-June and then to the beginning of July will be a sufficient enough time in Yona Center. And then I'm gonna talk about the Grameen Bank. So a lot of people get confused, but Grameen Bank and Yona Center is 2 different entities. So if you wanted to do Grameen Bank internship as well, you have to remember to tell your coordinator in the Yona Center that you wanted to do Grameen Bank as well. So especially if you're going through the program with George Washington University, because that's cooperative with the Yona Center, not the Grameen Bank. So if you want to go to the Grameen Bank, you do have to tell them. In Grameen Bank, it was actually mainly more about learning about the model of microfinance. So they have all these presentations that's around 10 presentation, and all of them is around 2 hours. And then every day they present to you how they operate as an organization and how does microfinance work. You might have noticed the work in Grameen Bank is very different from Yona Center. So Yona Center was actually more like working in an organization and working alongside the staff. But in Grameen Bank, you're more being lectured and you're more being like learning about how the microfinance work, but not exactly actually doing the microfinance itself and then like handing out the loans. All the interns are put into this one floor, and then we all learn together. So after you learn about all the models, the most exciting part is that you get to go to the field visit. It's a 4 days, 3 nights trip that you go to like one of the branch of the Grameen Bank. So it's actually like at the rural side of Bangladesh, and since Grameen Bank is a village bank, so that you actually see how the microfinance work on the ground in the very like rural side of Bangladesh. Is that we actually went into really deep down of the villages, and we were sleeping in the dormitory of the staff in one of the branch office, and we actually just like took this like called the tuk-tuki, and then we're just actually going into this really deep down village that's like, I'm probably the first like Taiwanese who have ever been there. Going to the center meeting and then see how they empower a woman through a microfinance model, and how like even in the most rural side of Bangladesh that Grameen Bank is there as well. It was just like so fascinating to see how much the microfinance and access to financial services has changed the life of all these members and women. A lot of them actually didn't graduate from university, was just a housewife before entering Grameen Bank and borrow money from the bank. But after joining the Grameen Bank, they were able to have some money to start a business, and those money can really help to support their family, although their kids go to school as well. And then just really fascinating to see how organized the Grameen model work there, and how confident actually these women are about telling about their business and just being the member of Grameen Bank. It's really feel like a big family there. The other great part is that because Dhaka is really just the city side of the Bangladesh, so by doing all these field visits, you get to see more nature of Bangladesh. So we also go on sightseeing when we finish seeing all these meetings, and then getting shadowing for the staff. And like the rural side of Bangladesh just like genuinely like so gorgeous, and you get to see a lot of nature, the water, the tree, and it's just like, yeah, it was a great experience. But I will recommend that around 2 weeks to 3 weeks definitely enough for Grameen Bank. So you will be more like doing 4 days of field visit and rest of the time during the presentations. And then I'm gonna talk a little bit about the logistics of staying in Bangladesh. I hope that this is a little help for you, because I feel like I sort of figure out all the logistics on my own, and then it was just quite hectic. So I hope this sort of help you. So firstly, for the accommodation, as intern in Grameen Bank or the Yona Center, you get discount in the Grand Prince Hotel, which is in Mirpur. So here's the thing, even though you get discount, you have to know that Mirpur is not like the best area of Dhaka. So if you wanted to live in better living quality, you better live in either Banani or like Gulshan. So those are the places where good restaurants are, more where most of the foreigners are, and also safer. So Mirpur is where both the Grameen Bank and Yona Center are. So I actually just take like rickshaw to go to work, and which is like really convenient. Or for Grameen Bank, I literally just walk, and I save a lot of money by staying in Grand Prince Hotel. But at the same time, it's not the safest area, yeah, but they definitely do provide you with all the basic, and you get to have breakfast included. So you have a fridge, you have table, you have bed, you have like own bathroom. So everything you need is in Grand Prince Hotel. But I would say if you're not in tight budget and you do like to explore around the city, probably stay in Gulshan and Banani will probably be easier. Even though you need to like do transport like or Uber yourself to work every day, and that will be an expense. But at the same time, if that means like living in a better area and then like more safer area, it probably is worth it. The other thing is transportation. So they have rickshaw, CNG, Uber. So honestly, like just download Uber. Uber can take you everywhere. Rickshaw and CNG as well, but you just have to be careful for being scammed. So sometimes I ask like a local to help negotiate the price for me. There's another app called the Patal, and that's like an local Uber, and it helps you to find your matches way earlier, and sometimes it's also cheaper. And another thing is the SIM card. So buy the Grameen SIM card, eSIM. That's like you can get it in the airport. So it should be quite straightforward, because like it's just actually so important to have a local phone number. Just make your life way easier, and Patal need a local phone number as well. There are some other tips, for example, like some visa. You can do visa on arrival or apply beforehand. So if you wanted to travel to other South Asian countries and stuff, definitely try to apply beforehand. And because the Bangladesh government website is not like the most easy to navigate, and sometimes it takes time for them to process your visa, definitely do that earlier, because I do know a lot of people who apply really late, and then they aren't able to get multiple entry. They can't like get their visa on time. So definitely do things way earlier ahead of time, and then making sure that you have your schedule set way earlier. Credit card is not like the easiest thing to use here, because sometimes at least I know that my bank account could not use in Bangladesh, and the credit card doesn't work either. So mostly I still pay everything in cash, and then still do prepare quite a few cash that you can use. The other thing is food. Yeah, so South Asian food, very spicy, but really tasty. And the only thing is that don't eat the street food. But even local actually get like diarrhea and stomachache by eating the street food. Almost everybody got food poisoning at some point, so that's almost like inevitable. There are so many restaurants around, but the best part is still like when your friends invite you over. A lot of local family like to invite guests to their house and then they cook local food for them, and that's always the best food. So yeah, look forward to that. Just one time I was like talking to this like university student in Dhaka, and then they say everything they do for fun is go to a restaurant and to eat. So I guess that really says a lot about their culture. And then also you don't need to worry about finding good food. The most important thing I guess what people care about is the cost. So do know that like both of the internship is unpaid. It's completely unpaid. So you do have to know that this might be a financial burden for some people. But if you're from GW, we have a lot of funding that's for unpaid internship and summer internship. So I applied for both the CASI Fund and also the Queen's Fellows, and I got both of them. So both of the money that I got from these two fellowships really have to cover all of my costs, my flight, my accommodation, my spending, everything there. So I guess it's really worth it and even save some money. So these are two things that you can definitely look into. And but again, living in Dhaka is like not too expensive. So most likely the biggest expense you have gonna be the flight, but the rest should be quite alright and affordable. And the other thing is entertainment. Do bear in mind that there aren't too many things to do in Dhaka other than going to the restaurants. So some of the entertainment that you could do is you could go to the coffee shop. So there is something called the North End that's like really nice. There are parks, there are bookstore available, and then there are also some movie theater. And on weekends, sometimes I do my trips into some other parts of Bangladesh, so that including Chittagong, Cox's Bazar, Sylhet, and then all these places are like quite beautiful and really different from Dhaka. But again, there are a lot of challenges that you have to go through by surviving in Bangladesh. So they literally have a phrase that they call like Bangladesh is not for beginners. So essentially just like there are a lot of things that you might encounter. It can be really shocking, but it really helped me grow as a person and also helped me to like handle more situations. The first one is definitely the lack of language proficiency. So a lot of people do not speak English, and especially Uber driver. They speak to me in Bangla all the time and never understand them. So I always need like a local to help me out. So most of the people don't speak English either. So then you really do have to be ready that you sort of sometimes need to hand gesture a little, or you always have to bring like a local with you to ensure you get a good price or go to the right places. And the other thing is just because the city is so packed and so populated, there's constant noise, constant horning, like it's not really the cleanest city. And then sometimes I really feel unsafe because people stare at you a lot, especially as a foreigner. It's quite conservative as well, and as a woman I don't feel comfortable wearing short sleeves, so I've been wearing long sleeves throughout my time there as well. You're not expected to wear a hijab or like really traditional clothes, but you just have to dress modest, but it's not too bad. Yeah, and lastly is definitely the medical condition. So they don't exactly have the best hospital, especially in the rural side. So then I brought like half of suitcases of medicine of like diarrhea, cough, and then like headache, head pain, whatever. So do bring a lot of medicine just in case. And then because the healthcare is not the most accessible, be careful to not get hurt. Obviously then I'm talking about like what I think about this like program, what I've learned. Firstly, because I was interning in the Yunus Center, so I get to meet the Professor Yunus himself. And since I admired him for like so long, so seeing him in person and being able to talk to him, it's just like a reward by itself. So I was very happy and excited for that. Yeah, he's such a friendly grandpa type of figure, and it's just like fascinating to talk to him. Yeah, and the other thing is learning about social business and microfinance. I would say I didn't know a lot about social business before coming to Bangladesh and learning about this concept and how this can really be a pioneer for like the current capitalism system, and then how this could work, and like learning about microfinance and seeing how it can be replicated across the world, helping poverty alleviation and empowering women. In the center meeting, seeing all the women smiling at us and talking about how microfinance changed their life and actually empower them to support their family and having a more voice inside of their household, just such an enriching experience. And knowing such an internationally recognized organization operate on the ground and how much it incorporate into the local culture and the whole banking system that's based on trust, how well it is operating, it's just really fascinating. And since I'm someone who is very interested in international development, just like living in a developing country for 2 months was like an experience itself. And then just like seeing how it feels like living in a developing country and how everything operates, it's just like very enriching and it's really great to know more things about whether this is an environment that I want to continue working in. And the other thing is definitely learning about the South Asian history and culture. So since you're in the region, you hear a lot about the beefing between the countries, and then you also get to learn about their culture, their food. I talked to this with like other international intern every day on the street, just like taking an Uber drive. It's like an enriching experience by itself. There's so many things going on, and you can just learn so much about a country just by living there. I went in 2025. It's literally 1 year after the July Revolution. So everything is still so fresh. Like you see all the paintings that's left over from the revolution on the wall, on the street, everywhere. And then one of my friends, he got so into the revolution, he watched like 5 documentaries about what happened then. Yeah, so it was just so interesting and fascinating to learn about the things that this country is going through. Yeah, so it definitely helped to broaden your worldview. And the fact that you actually go to Dhaka, go to Bangladesh to understand all this model work, it definitely does stand out on your resume because that shows a level of commitment. Being on the ground, learning firsthand, definitely give you a different perspective, and knowing how these things can actually help people, and knowing that like sitting behind your desk is never gonna be sufficient enough to learn about a country or like make any policy about it. So them just being on the ground really helps as well. Lastly, of course, is the people I meet in this trip. Yeah, I genuinely met so many great friends. The hospitality of Bangladesh, it's wow. Like I honestly think you don't know what the word hospitality means until you met Bangladeshis. Like they are the most friendly people ever. They always try to take me to food, invite me to their house, taking me to the airport back and forth, and then they're trying to help me out with like from the smallest different thing, from checking in, checking out, helping me survive in Dhaka. Even though I meet a lot of challenges along the way, but because of all these people, you really help me a lot. For the foreigners who are coming, the other foreigners who are also there are the people who share very similar interests with you, because if you already have the commitment to come to Bangladesh to learn about this, you're definitely gonna meet the people who share a lot of similar interests. So my internship buddies and my friends who I meet in Bangladesh, just genuinely, I'm so grateful to have met them. And yeah, the last thing is just that I really hope whoever like has decided to come to keep an open mind, be more flexible, because do expect a lot of chaos and a lot of like spontaneous thing happening, and the most important thing just being open-minded and then being willing to learn. So there will be some of the situation that can be quite uncomfortable. For example, the bathroom can be like quite dirty, walking on the street and like crossing the street can be quite dangerous and scary, but then just like if you keep an open mind and then consider everything as an experience, you're generally gonna have a good time. And yeah, so that's why I spent 2 months in Bangladesh this year. I genuinely think going to Bangladesh as a person who wanted to do international development was one of the most enriching experience ever. So I really had a great time in Bangladesh, and I hope whoever does it in the future do as well. I hope this is helpful, and I genuinely want to thank everyone I met there and all the people who helped me throughout my process in Bangladesh. So I hope this helps, and see you!